Hello everyone, welcome to this session of discussion with Cat Toppers with PrepZone. Today with us we have Ranjan, who has made it to IIM Calcutta. And let me tell you, this was his fourth attempt. So persistence shown by Ranjan has been exemplary. So hi Ranjan, welcome to the show.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. So Ranjan, how is it feeling?
First of all, sir, very, very happy to it was always a dream to study at a Premier B school. And now that I have made it, actually, it feels like really, it's a very good feeling. And I'm very excited for the journey that awaits.
Nice. So your classes have started, I believe.
So it would be starting from tomorrow. We are done with the induction program at IIM Calcutta, and the academic session would start from tomorrow.
So to my viewers, I want to say that Ranjan has taken out time from his busy schedule. So guys, do watch the entire video and make sure you are taking points which are relevant to you and implementing them in your CAT strategy. And hopefully next year it will be you who we will be interviewing. So Ranjan, tell us how did you go about your CAT preparation? I mean, you gave CAT 3 times earlier. So what were your learnings from it? And then what changed in the fourth attempt?
Yes, sir. So, sir, I'll actually start from why I was motivated to give CAT and why I ended up and why I wanted to do an MBA. So I am from BIT Meshta, Patna campus, and it comes in a tier 3, tier 4 engineering college. So as people would already know, the tier 3, tier 4 engineering college are not very competitive places. And I always wanted to study at a college or actually wanted to live in a place where, I can actually explore my potential. And you can actually scale up your potential when you are in that group of those competitive minds which are like-minded and who have high career aspirations. So that is what motivated me to opt for CAT and hence do an MBA. So I'm an EC graduate from BIT Meshta, as I said, and I passed out in 2018. So I have given, this was my fourth attempt in CAT, and I have given 3 previous attempts. In my first attempt, I had a quite a low percentile. I had a 91 percentile, which I gave while I was in my final year. And I had converts from few new IIMs that year, but I did not join. I gave CAT again in 2018, in which I scored a 98.8 percentile. But I could not clear the VARC cutoff. I had a 59 point something percentile in VARC, and I did not get any good calls. Next year, CAT 2019, I just gave it for the sake of giving, and I scored a 96 percentile. And again, I had converts from new IIMs, IIM Raipur and below. So then I decided that the situations had changed in my family, and my personal aspirations had also shifted. I was working in Publicis Sapient as a cloud engineer, and then I actually decided that I am now going to give my full-fledged attention to CAT 2020 and not be traveling on 2 boats. So I actually gave up my job in back in March 2020, and I started my CAT preparation in May 2020 last year.
All right. So how did you go about this year? I mean, you were more determined and you quit your job to concentrate full time on CAT preparation. So what was your day like and how did you strategize?
So I had 3 key learnings from my previous attempt. The first is no matter how much you try, nothing is going to be enough for the D-Day. So one doesn't have to feel very underwhelmed with his preparation. Second was I needed a very good mentor who had actually done it and who can keep guiding me throughout. And third, I needed a good pool of people. Like in all my previous attempts, I've always prepared in isolation. Like I've always prepared with myself. I did not have anyone to refer to or anyone to compare to. Now, compare would be a wrong word, but I did not have anyone to relate to. Like, how am I doing with respect to him? What are the possible other strategies that people are actually using while giving their test? I did not have any such people or any such group to be engaged in. So this time I made sure that I had all these 3 things very intact with me. So with this, I actually had a talk with Shubham Ranka in May 2020, and I actually enrolled for PrepZone in their flagship program for CAT 2020.
Okay. So you found your group over here. So did you find people from your own college or your own company, or they were completely new people?
Yes, sir. So I can say that this was one of my best decisions, that in PrepZone itself, I found 3 people from my own college. 2 were my seniors and 1 was my junior.
All right.
Rahul, Shashank, and Ishan, and later on I also found another person from my own college, that is Ojasvi. So we
Okay.
framed a group of 4 or 5 people, and we actually studied till the very end.
Nice,
So,
nice, nice.
so what I was looking for was a mentor, which I got in Shubha. I was looking, which I found with the people that were there in prep zone, and then it all depended on how you went about in the next few months that were there for CAT.
All right. So you found your group and then you started practicing or preparing with them. So what was your
Yes, sir.
strategy with respect to the individual sections?
So first thing, that because I had given previous attempts and I had managed to score almost a 99 percentile one time, so it simply meant that I had my basics clear. I had a good ground level that I had achieved already, and I did not have to start from the scratch. So one thing I was sure that I needed only practice, and this is where I actually resorted to two things. The first was the assignment that were given to us here at PrepZone, and the second was the previous year mocks of all these coaching institutions that are there.
Okay.
So what we actually did was, before we were just practicing randomly, like we were just someday we were solving an algebra, 2-3 days after we are solving arithmetic. So it was not going in a very oriented way. So we actually decided that because we all had given CAT before, like we already knew the basics of it, so we actually decided we can go ahead with giving the entire section at one go. So that's when we decided that we will give the past year mocks in a time-based format. We actually set a timer on our mobile phones of a 60-minute initially, and then 40 minutes when the pattern changed. And we actually gave each section as a mock, like together, like we gave it, and then we went on a call, discussed various approaches, discussed our mistakes, like questions where we took more time, questions which could have been done in another way. So one thing I really believe in, that people learn a lot from their mistakes. Like if you solve a question correctly, maybe you will forget that concept, but if you solve a question in a wrong way and then you get corrected instantly, then that mistake stays in your mind forever and you won't do that mistake again. So having a good peer group is very helpful in that regards.
All right. So Ranjan, you said that your basics were already clear. So did you prepare before also?
Such as this time, it was my first time with a coaching. While I was in college, I was enrolled in IMS classroom program, and in the last 2 attempts, I was preparing by myself. So this time, I enrolled into coaching because I needed a very structured and a channelized way of preparation.
Got it. So I mean, was there any particular section you used to focus on, or how did you find out that okay, this is my go-to section and this is my weak section? So what were the strategies with respect to that?
Okay, sir. So, sir, LRDI was something that I was always good at. I have previously in my attempt, which I got 98.8, I had a 99.8 in DILR. So DILR was something that I knew that it was my strength, and it helped me throughout the mock season. VARC was something that I was really terrible at. In my three previous attempts, I had a score of 74 percentile, 59 percentile, and a 64 percentile in VARC in the last 3 years. So I knew that this is the chief source of problem for my overall score. Even though I have been scoring very good overall, VARC is something that is always going to pull me down if we talk in terms of what calls I'm going to get. So this season also, when I started my preparation, I remember in my SimCAT 2, I had a score of 13 in VARC. Like overall, I had a very good score. I had a 150 score, but in VARC, I had a score of 13. So what I feel that low scores are very important, like in terms of how it shapes up your preparation. The moment I got 13, I did not panic first. Second, I knew that VARC is not my forte, so it can happen any day to me. Like I can get a lower score than this also. So this helped me that okay, I should not panic at this moment. Rather, I should work in a more constructive way. So I started approaching people who were really good at VARC. Then I came across Ishan Mohan, who was a student at PrepZone, and then he took up from there, and he actually told me various ways that how you can go around with VARC, how he actually does it. We actually held a few sessions within ourselves where he actually told his VARC strategy. So I learned few things with him, and then the study group we collectively solved exercises and discussed among ourselves, and that led to the improvement gradually in VARC.
So is there any strategy or tip you want to tell to people who are watching this, that what was in VARC that you got to know from Ishan?
Okay, sir. So VARC is like one generic thing that I've heard a lot is that like VARC agar hai to just start reading articles, start reading newspapers and all. I just want to say that if you have only 4 to 5 months left, this is a strategy that is not going to help you. First, second is you need to practice a very good. If you have not been a good reader throughout your life, 4 to 5 months of reading is not going to help you to ace this section. Third is you need to realize that reading is not your strength, so you need to strategize it very well. Like I knew that I was never a reader. I was in a Hindi medium school for till class 6, so I've never been a reader like that. So I knew that I had to strategize to score in a better way. So what I actually did was I talked to various people. Like I talked to Ishan, and Ishan told his strategy. Like, okay, so what he does that he has been a very good reader, so he actually reads a passage in 2 or 3 minutes, and then he can focus his attention on the question, which for me was not possible. Like one very important thing is that you hear to someone's strategy and don't start copying it. You actually need to first see that whether this is going to work for you. I knew that won't work for me because I have not been a reader. So what was important for me was getting accustomed to the type of questions that are being asked and type of reasoning that that you need to apply to actually arrive at the correct answers. So I said last year I would have solved easily around 1,000 plus RCs because I focused solely on that. There have been days that I would have attempted 3-4 sectionals of VARC, around 15 to 20 passages in a day. So because I knew that reading is not going to improve for me in a passage of few months, so I actually shifted my focus to RCs. Like I solved all kinds of RCs, and that actually helped me. Like once you start solving VARs, like 2, 3, or 4 or 5 sectionals you give like that, you actually start figuring out the reasoning. Like why an answer has to be correct, why you can eliminate few answers. There are certain fixed types also that you can see in an answer. There are certain logic, there are certain fallacy that it follows. So once you start practicing those RCs, you are going to get hold of these things.
Okay. So to everyone who's watching this show, practice and practice as much as RCs as you can. So Ranjan here was doing almost 15 RCs a day. So if you are anywhere close to a good reader, then maybe not so much, but yeah, definitely you have to improve upon your reading speed and reading comprehension. So that's what the RC is all about. So Ranjan, you gave your mocks, you formed your peer group, and you were giving mocks together. In fact, you were creating mocks of your own in a way by taking up sections from other coaching institutes and previous year papers and then solving them within yourself. So what was CAT like? I mean, what was there on the D-Day?
Sir, I have been a very good performer throughout the mock season. Like I was easily scoring above 99 and mostly above 99.5 throughout. But I did not know it before, but when it actually happened, because so much was at stake for me. I had left my job. I don't come from a very strong financial background, so CAT was a very, very important thing for me, especially at this age. Like I was at an age where this exam could make my career or it could break my career. So the expectation which I had from myself, because I had been a good performer and also because many things were at stake, so expectations were very, very huge when it came to the kind of expectation I had from myself. So when the D-Day started, I panicked in a very, very bad way. Like my VARC section, I attempted in a good way, but the attention was somehow not there. So I fumbled a bit, and I actually had to hurry through my VA section. I had a good time with the RCs, but in VA I did not get any answer correct. So on the D-Day I fumbled in VARC, but that was always in my hindsight that this can happen. Like VARC is something that I'm not very excellent at. So even though if I have a poor score or an average score in VARC, I can still make up with the kind of DILR and quant, the level that I was in these two sections. So DILR was something that actually, it shook me on the D-Day. Like in the first 12 minutes, I was not able to, solve a single set.
All right.
And the realization it gave me that I have only 28 minutes. I still have 5 sets, out of which I tried to solve one set. I was not able to solve it. I have been giving advices throughout this last year about to people about DILR, that don't start solving DILR at the front. Like go through all those sets, choose your sets, make your priority order, then start solving. But on the D-Day, because of the pressure, I wanted to solve more sets. So I did not go through all the sets, and I just started solving the sets in a serial wise manner. So the strategy that I was following throughout the year, I I faltered at it and I did not follow it, and it did, bite me in the back later on. So, but however, I did pretty well in DILR. I did not do excellent. I scored a 97 percentile in DILR, but DILR left me very, very disappointed. So in quant, what actually happened that after a certain moment, 35 minutes, because it was a 40-minute per section, CAT 2020. So after 35 or 36 minutes, I actually dropped my pen. Like I was shivering. I knew that I had a very, very terrible day at work, and I was shivering, and I just, I had a feeling that it's over for me. I did not know that paper is very, very tough overall, and I would get a decent percentile even at the performance that I had given. That moment I did not know it, and hence I dropped my pen. So D-Day for me, sir, it was, I can say that it was not my best days. I still scored a decent percentile, 98.4. And because I come from an NCOBC category, I had that cushion against me, and I got the calls from all the Premier B schools.
So guys, like Ranjan
Yes,
is telling us that it's important to keep your calm and composure on the day, because that's the most important day, and do not let pressure get to you. So it helps to know that at the back of the mind, which we have discussed with the previous call getters also, that if the paper is tough, it's tough not just for you, it's tough for everyone. So you should maintain a calm head and composed head. If you see that the questions you're not able to solve, then sit back, take a deep breath, and go through the questions once, so that you can identify the ones which are easy and pick them. And if you solve them, that will give you some confidence boost. So Ranjan, really thank you for this experience, sharing this experience with us.
Like
And
DILR, sir, we'll take the example of DILR this time. So DILR, this year, DILR, you would get an 80 percentile at even 14 marks.
okay,
That is 14 out of 72. So when people are actually giving the exam, they don't know this thing, that what is the cutoff actually going to be, and judging the paper while giving the paper is the most stupid thing that you can do in an exam, especially when it is a very time constraint based exam. So judging the paper should not be something that an aspirant should be doing. I made the mistake of doing it in DILR, and it haunted me in quant also. In quant was a very easy paper this time. Like quant was really, really easy this time around. And if I had just collected my composure during quant, I would have got a better percentile. Like I would have scored much better. I still scored a 99 in quant, but I would have scored a much better percentile in quant if I had just collected myself at that moment. So having that temperament, maintaining that cool, and letting go of all the expectation you have from your paper, these are three very, very important things that one should take note of while giving the CAT on the actual D-Day.
Absolutely, Ranjan. And Ranjan, I think it helped that you had that cushion of your NCOBC,
yes, sir.
And you were able to make it to IIM Calcutta. But yeah, so all's well that ends well. So
yes, sir.
You gave CAT, you got a good result. Then comes in the other half, which people neglect, which is GDPI, because everyone is all about CAT. So then how did you go about GDPI preparation?
So GDPI was something that I knew absolutely nothing about. I had given B school interviews previously, but it was all, with the feeling that I'm not going to join that B school, because getting into a top 10 or a top 15 B school was always my priority. And I did not have, calls from these B schools in my previous attempt. So all those interviews, I did not have any expectation. And so that experience was not going to help me this time around, because this time I was very serious and I had calls from all these Premier B schools. So I knew that I needed to convert it. So after doing a little research, talking to a few people, I joined PrepZone's flagship GDPI program in the month of December itself, like when the marks were released, and we had an understanding of the expected percentiles that one would be getting. I actually enrolled for GDPI course at PrepZone.
Okay, all right. So how did PrepZone help you? So you enrolled for the PrepZone program for CAT as well, and for the GDPI also. So how did PrepZone help you?
Okay, sir. So because I did not know anything about the GDPI thing, that how it goes on in actually at those allied B schools. So I was pretty blank at it, but gradually things started opening up at PrepZone. Like we had an inauguration session as well, where we were told that what kind of expectation you should have from your B schools, what kind of questions are being asked, and everything was covered, like right from the HR questions to the mathematics question or the technical question or the engineering branch wise question. All of these topics were covered. Like we the most important, the best thing I felt about the PrepZone, that it has a good pool of very aspirational students. So in the GDPI program, we had around 200 students this time around, and most of the students are very, very well oriented in their mind. They had a very clear focus, and so you learn from some, you teach a few, you learn from some, and then you grow up together, is how you actually live in a peer group. So again, it was a very good platform. And then the most important thing again I felt was the kind of mentors which we had here in Prep Zone. So mentors were here from various B schools, having varied interest. Like a few were experts in finance, for few were experts in consultants, and most of the mentors had actually gone through these B school processes. So we had the advantage of hearing their experiences already, like how what I feel that every B school has its own culture. Like what a B school does in an PI interview, apart from all those objective questions that it asks you, it also sees where you are a fit for that B school or not, whether you will be able to add to that culture or not. So all these things we were able to learn from the mentors that were available here at Prep Zone.
All right. So Ranjan, one question that you must have encountered in your interviews, that you had quit your job. So did you encounter that question, that why did you quit your job?
Sir, in almost all my B school interviews, I was ready for it. I knew that this question is going to be asked to me, and I was very genuine about it. I just told the reason why I had left my job. There were certain things in my family that had changed. My responsibilities had changed, and continuing on three fronts, like taking care of my family, giving my 100% at my workplace, and then preparing for CAT. These three things were not feasible for me to carry out simultaneously, because I could not let go of any three. Because if I work at my workplace with the feeling that I'm just going to work for the sake of working and then focus on my CAT preparation, it would be very much helpful to me professionally, because I have had a very good time at my workplace. Those people had a certain kind of expectation for me, and I can't fool them, because that won't be very right. So I actually had to give up on one of these three things, and giving up on the family and giving up on CAT was not an option for me. So I ended up giving CAT, and I was more than happy to be genuine about it. I talked to my mentors in Prep Zone, and they told me just one thing: be genuine, just tell them the reason, unless it is very, very stupid reason, of course. So if you have a good genuine reason, just tell them. The professors are more or less they are going to appreciate your honesty.
So yeah, that definitely helps, that being genuine. So these professors, and which we tell everyone every year, that these professors are 15 years and 20 years experienced professors. So they have seen it all. They have seen each and every candidate go through in front of them, and they've heard it all. So it always helps to be genuine, because if you are cooking up something, they will catch it. So that is one very important piece of information, that in all your interviews, just be yourself. So Ranjan, anything else you want to tell the students who are watching this?
So two things. First would be my learning from my CAT preparation. First is that be humble throughout, even though you have been scoring very, very good, or you have been scoring very poorly. Be humble, know your priorities, and keep working for it. Like don't leave anything for the next day or the day after tomorrow to do. Like if you think that you have been very much rushed, or you're feeling burnt out, it's better to take a week's break and then get back with full potential. That would be my learning from my CAT preparation. And with GDPI, I'll say the sooner you let go of your CAT percentile and focus solely on the GDPI, the more it is going to help you. Like a 99.95 percentile or a 99.99 percentile is not going to help you convert a B school. But if you give a good PI, even at 99.5, people actually make it to all those premier B schools.
Correct.
So be very sure that GDPI is the make or break to getting into a B school. Like if the professor actually wants that, I want this candidate on my campus, he can add to the culture here. So he would mark you in a certain way that you are going to make it despite your score. And even if you are 100 percentiler and the professor feels that this guy is not going to add, even though he's a very brilliant student, this guy is not going to add to the culture of B school, he is going to mark that person in a certain way that he actually does not end up making it to that B school. We have often heard stories of 100 percentiles getting rejected at Ahmedabad or a Bangalore, certain things. So these stories are not false. These stories are actually true. And I've actually seen my batchmates facing those things. So it's very, very good on helpful to be humble. And no matter what happens, like one should never give up. If you have a dream of studying at a premier B school and making a career out of it, despite your low ACATS, despite your low WorkX or not a good WorkX or a tier 3 or a tier 4 engineering college, one should not be very, very conservative when it comes about working towards their dreams.
All right, Ranjan. Thank you so much. Thank you for those words. And that was very inspirational. And I'll let you go back to your studies and to your sessions. So today is a Sunday. Hopefully there is no class today. But all the best.
Yes, sir.
All the best for your future. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.